o'clock, we have a quorum. We'll call the meeting to order. This is the Tuesday, October 18th, 2022 meeting of the Hopkinton Conservation Commission. Just so everyone knows, the trails hearing tonight, the continuation got so we'll jump into the work session items. We have no documents for review. Two sets of draft minutes, 9/13 and 9/27. Did everyone get a chance to take a look at those? Any comments or questions? Can I get a motion to approve both sets of minutes?
So moved.
And a second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Town of Hopkinton DPW Lake Maspinock request to use the toolbox item. This is a continuation. At the last meeting, we approved the normal drawdown. The DPW was looking to do an extended drawdown for this year, submitted the materials to the commission for review. I think it was either that day or the day before. So we, for the request for the extended drawdown, we just wanted time to review the additional info, which looks good. You guys have any questions on that?
I just have one question, if I could, Mr. Westerly.
Yes.
I think it said the extended drawdown is at its 8-foot depth for 2 weeks before the refill. Could that be extended longer to give it a better chance to kill weeds, or would that screw up the spring refill and everything else? Or does it kill nature? Or
Through the chair, the last time that we had done the 8-foot drawdown, we requested an extension of that 2 weeks only because the weather conditions weren't favorable for weed kill. Mm-hmm. That was granted by the Conservation Commission, and we did extend the date. If you recall, 2 years ago, it was not effective because the weather conditions just weren't there. But I think we also extended it 5 years ago when it was extremely effective and had the best weed kill.
so if need be, you may come back and ask for an extension.
Yes.
Okay. I did hear on the news we're supposed to have a colder winter this year, so fingers crossed as far as the lake.
Only around the lake.
Yeah, not nothing, but I'll take the weeds versus the colder winter. I don't live there.
I'll disagree.
Okay, Kim, did you have any?
That was the only thing I saw, Jeff.
Did you have, okay, thanks, Ted. Kim, did you have any comments?
I don't. I did notice that the submittal went through the required order conditions in the order of conditions and kind of specified how the applicant was meeting each criteria in the order of conditions. So I appreciated that, and I thought it was thorough and appropriate.
Good. Okay, questions or comments from the audience? Great, if I can get a motion to approve the extended drawdown for this year.
I'll make that motion.
And the second?
Well, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Thank you
Great.
very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along.
You can stay for bread,
Johnson, 132 Lumber Street. This is a request for an extension permit. Is Mr. Johnson here? Yes, come on up.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we took a look at the site conditions and the filing. And I think the sense is, and Kim, why don't you, if you want to jump in and kind of give your rationale, but the sense is that through the COVID, you know, all of the orders were extended anyways, so this is extended through September 2023.
Oh, I thought it was February.
I believe it's,
February 24.
February 24.
yes,
Okay.
yep, so September 23, February 24. So, you know, our sense is, you know, that's almost another year, right? And you just have to do the additional plantings.
Right. So my And I agree, there's plenty of time to finish the work. What I don't know is how long does it need to stabilize before I could apply for the certificate of completion.
Yeah.
When my house was first sited, that was a full year. So I was assuming I'm not gonna get plantings in by February. It's gonna happen in the spring. So I don't have that full year to make that date, if it was going to be a full year. But I'm not planting grass, I'm planting, natural things.
Right.
So I don't know how long. I tried to ask that question, but I just wasn't confident of the answer, so I said, I want to be safe and ask for the extension. But I'm confident that the work will be done. It's just a matter of the stabilization time.
Yep.
That's really what it comes down to for me.
So I guess my suggestion would be spring of 2023, plantings in.
Mhm.
And then once those plantings are in, let's see how they do over the summer. And then, in the fall, if it looks like we need more time, let's do the extension.
That's fine. I can
If we
totally
don't,
live with that. Yeah.
let's get it closed out and get
Okay.
you.
I just knew
on
that
your way.
my opportunity to ask for the extension, well, because I didn't know about the COVID extension. So I was up against the time limit, so I wanted to make sure I got it in so that I was eligible, so.
I understand, and I appreciate your proactiveness, and I think you may have gathered we just kind of switched back agents. Maybe,
Yeah.
the lack of communication was a little bit because
Yeah.
of that, so I do
And
apologize.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's fine with me. If we can just readdress it when the time comes, then that's totally fine.
Okay, so that sound okay to everyone? Yep.
Thank you
Okay,
for
Great.
perfect,
asking.
Mr.
Great.
Johnson. Yep, thank you
Great,
for
take
coming
care.
in.
Do you have my information?
Yeah.
Double check. Thank you.
Great.
Just reach out to
You have
me
a real
when
card. Last time I met you, you didn't have a card yet.
Oh, just reach out to me when you want to do the plantings, or right after, and I
Will do.
can come check them out.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, Downey Street, 56 Downey Street, goal. This is a cease and desist discussion. Is anyone here for 56 Downey?
I can kind of explain what happened if
Yeah, that'd be
there's no
helpful,
other
Kim.
representation. Yep, let me just pull up the map. Okay, so you also have some information in your packet, this map. I think it's in your packet as well. So this is Downey Street, so it's on Lake Maspinock. We had been approached by the new owner, Mr. Goel, in regards to his plan to raise his property, and he expressed that he'd like to take down the trees down to the lake. The buffer zone extends, it just kisses his existing deck. So this was one of these where it was questioning, is this in or out of our jurisdiction? But certainly the trees were. So, we told him we're happy to take a look at the trees and evaluate and follow up with him, which we did. So the exemption report is also included. So basically, Anna and I found that approximately half of the trees were either deceased or in immediate danger of striking the house. And then approximately half of the trees were healthy trees, and were, within the buffer zone or directly on the bank of the property. This was issued to Mr. Goel. He, via email, confirmed that he had received the report, and we had let him know for the trees that were not approved that he could seek counsel of an arborist and or file a application with conservation to have those other trees removed. He said okay. And then last week, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, we get a call that there were tree removal company out there, which I wasn't surprised about because I approved half of the trees, but we said, why don't we go check it out anyways and just make sure. And Anna was gracious enough to go out there, and when she went out there, the tree contractor was under the impression that they were just cutting everything down to the bank. So we were able to stop them before they got to the bank, but they did get to a few of the other trees that had not been approved that should have been. So I have before photos and I have after photos. Why don't I start with the after photos?
So there were 5 to 8 trees that weren't approved to be cut that were. Is that correct, Kim?
Correct, yep. Let's see. So these are Anna's photos from this week, from after the cutting. So as you can see, there's still some vegetation on the bank. We were able to save the last trees that are immediately adjacent to the bank. But kind of upslope, we lost all the vegetation upslope.
Good job. Question.
Yes.
So, you said this, I apologize. How many of the trees that were meant to have a permit were removed? None, some, many, all?
Most. I would say we approved 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17.
Well,
We approved about,
We approved some as an exemption.
yeah.
Mine
Trees requiring permit, looks like there was like about 10. They probably got to
Yeah.
about 5 or 6 of them.
That they took out.
Yep.
Do you know which numbers those are, as I look at the map?
We don't,
No.
yeah. We were cramming on that day to fit everything in,
Okay.
so we were trying to run down there and see what was happening, and then,
But it looked like from the photos, 8, 9, 10, 12, it looked like all of those were gone. But there was one photo looking back up at the house,
yeah.
all the ones in the middle of the yard there.
Yeah.
Right, and some of those were approved to be removed, but others weren't.
I think 7 and 11 were approved, right, in the middle of the yard?
Correct.
Yep.
Yep, 7 and 11. Looks like 10, 12. 10 and 12 we're supposed to stay. 13. 15, I think, went down. 8 and 9 are gone, so.
8 and 9 were supposed to stay?
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay.
So we did issue a cease and desist, and, you know, I wanted to counsel with you all to decide how you wanted to move forward. This particular homeowner, I'm sure, is still looking to do the work on his house as well. So it's something to keep in mind.
I didn't hear the last thing you said.
This particular homeowner, I know, is looking to also, he was gonna do a raise and rebuild, right? Yeah, he was planning to do a raise and rebuild of the house. The house is just outside of the buffer zone as it currently stands. It is a steep slope, as you can see there. So that's just another element to keep in mind, that permitting may or may not be done at this point.
Okay. What do you folks think?
Well, I mean, I would, I don't know, if the words request or require that trees be planted for the ones that were taken down, that we wouldn't, I mean, unless we think we were gonna prove that they come down, but typically if we're taking down a healthy tree, we're putting up a, new tree on any other site that we look at. Pretty standard. I wonder, do we know who the tree company was?
It was American Climbers, and we were a little surprised. They were very polite to Anna, she reported, as soon as she said, whoa, and they kind of said, oh yeah, it was weird that we didn't see a permit from you before we did this. So, yeah, they should have known better. Yeah.
Okay, so I think to Melissa's point, we're gonna want the trees replanted. I guess the question is the timing of it. You know, if they're gonna be doing more a raise and rebuild, you know, maybe it makes sense to have them do that after that work is done, if it's gonna be done in the next, in the near future.
Well, I don't know that the trees are impacted by the construction of the house, right? Everything else that they're constructing is outside of.
Yeah, the question becomes, you know, will we see this applicant again should they decide to reconstruct the house just outside the buffer? I can't say whether or not that will happen at this point.
Does the size of the house or proposed house or whatever limit access to the back after the house, if the trees were to be planted after the house was present?
That's a good point.
Probably,
That's
yeah.
a good point,
It's
Ed.
tight.
And I would suggest that when people take down trees they're not supposed to take down of substance, that we should say that you're going to replace it with a tree of substance and not a little stick.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good point. You know, I mean, the foundation, the footprint of the house isn't gonna get any closer to the lake. They may propose some landscaping type work, but,
It might, but it might not.
right.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if it does, it would be very limited. And
Do we think 14 was removed? That's the one that was approved closest to the lake.
You think it's still there?
Yeah, because that was further down.
So that one's still there. Because I'm wondering what a cease and desist does if they've already chopped down all the trees that they were allowed to chop down. But if there's at least one left that we approved.
We at least saved the trees that are immediately adjacent to the bank.
yeah, they were planning on cutting everything down.
No, I
Yeah.
understand that. But if they chop down, if they got to all the ones that we approved, and then we say, stop, well, they might say, great, we got bonus trees in without any penalty. If the home is outside of our jurisdiction, can our tree cease and desist impact their approval of getting the home redone, or do we have zero say on the timetable of the home? Does my question make sense? Do people follow?
I get what you're saying, yeah. Do we have any leverage here?
Right.
Is basically the question.
I will say this, it's regulatorily gray, but the town, you know, town departments are really great in this town about working together to encourage compliance across the board, to just help each other out. That's,
Great, so especially if we have leverage. I also love the replant trees of substance, not something like this that may become a tree in 20 years.
Yeah, no, I agree. So I think probably an enforcement and restoration order is
okay.
is appropriate here, Kim. So if we can issue that,
For the chair?
to the applicant, yes, yep.
If the commission is amendable, I would suggest allowing the applicant to cluster the replacement trees near the bank. Just because I know that their concern is probably gonna be, you know, large trees that could potentially grow up and then pose that same kind of risk hazard to their structure. And then also if we cluster the trees near the bank, we're getting that, you know, vegetated buffer strip benefits, and they're also getting a small yard. I think it's a little bit of a,
Yeah, that makes
Give and
sense.
take.
And we get the bank stabilization.
right.
Benefit as well. Yep, I think that's fine with me, so that makes sense to everyone. Okay, and I guess the lessons learned on this one, I know that you weren't, you're on maternity leave, Kim, but maybe, you know, in a situation like this, when a house on the lake or in the buffer zone is proposing this many trees to be removed, we should just have it flagged and then come out and take a look at it before they have the contractor come out.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially, I will take full responsibility for this one because it happened right before I left and then right as I came back.
Well, you weren't here, so I mean, you can't.
No, I
really
was
take-
here. I was here.
Okay.
Yeah, I
But
was like,
now-
no, this
but
is
not
on
when
me.
the work happened. Not when the work happened, though.
No, I was like my first day back.
It was Thursday last
Yeah,
week,
yeah.
in the middle of the rainstorm.
But that was, you know, that was the intent of what I was trying to do with this homeowner, was have that educational conversation with him, go out and, you know, name each tree. I mean, to his credit, some of the trees were dead as a doornail. This site had not been maintained or loved by a homeowner in a while.
Yeah.
The trees that I approved were dead. or growing into the deck. But, you know, I thought that I had that understanding with him, you know, here are the reasons why these are approved, here are the reasons why these are not, here is why I'm spending so much time on a handful of trees. So, I mean, if
Okay.
there's a different way that I should be approaching this in the future, if I should just send it straight to the commission, I can do that, just let me
No, I
know.
don't think we need to do that. You know,
I
we-
think the letter's pretty clear.
Yeah, we
I
trust your
mean,
judgment. I mean,
It's really not.
More than clear.
yeah, this was a situation where I think they just, they knew what they were doing and just had the contractor go out and cut everything down, so. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than beg for permission type of situation, so, okay. All right, so if we can issue that enforcement and restoration order, please. Any other questions or
Chair,
comments?
question.
Yeah.
Should we ask the contractor, the tree company, to come in for a chat?
I don't think they need to come in for a chat, but maybe we can just send them a letter, Anna. Just kind of reinforcing, if
Reach
they,
out to make sure that they're getting a copy of our article.
yeah, if they're
'Cause
doing
I
work
asked him,
around.
I said, like, I've had homeowners approach me that they won't, American climbers won't cut them down until they have that letter from us, so I was really surprised. And he said the office may have a letter, but he was like, we were told to cut every tree on the property.
Okay, so we can just send them a friendly letter, just letting them know that we prefer to have the commission, the commission prefers to have them have the approval in hand before they do the work type of thing. Okay, thanks. Yes, sorry, yep.
Walter Garland, 50 Downey. The documents that you're reviewing, I went out to the website to look for them on Google Docs, and apparently that folder was restricted.
Yeah,
Is it available for the public?
I can speak to that. When you emailed me today, I was surprised. I apologize. I think something happened with Google Drive, but we looked at our laptops and took the restrictions off to make it public, and I reached back out to you for email to have you try to re-access it. So I do apologize that you weren't able to access it. It's definitely our intent to have all this information be public, and you should be able to review the documents at this point.
Will be out there?
Yep, it should be out there right now. Just
Okay.
definitely reach out to me if you ever run into that again.
Okay. And Mr. Chairman, I had a question about the next steps with this property. I understand the house itself may be 100 feet or outside the buffer zone, but there's no room to work on the sides of that house. They're going to need a wide swath down slope to work on that house. What is the commission's responsibility for ensuring that, at whatever point, if it's 75 feet, 80 feet, that there's erosion, sediment control, because there's a lot of water that goes down that bank, and it generates a lot of mud, lulls and bobcats and stuff going around the back. And it sounds like it doesn't require notice of intent, but I understand that may be a request for determination.
Well, if they're doing work outside the buffer zone, which I think if they are just doing work on the structure, then it's outside our jurisdiction, correct, Kim?
Yeah, so this is gonna be a tricky one. It's a good question. It's a steep slope, and they're gonna need to bring construction equipment in on the lake side, probably, if he is gonna do a raise and rebuild. The answer regulatorily is that if the work is outside of the 100-foot buffer zone, the commission doesn't have jurisdiction. But if the work results in sedimentation into the commission's jurisdiction, then the commission can take jurisdiction over that work.
Over the whole
So,
project.
yes.
Jeff?
So I've advised the applicant that it's very close and that may be something that he needs to keep in mind, even just to be cautionary, at a minimum, file a request for a determination. But unless and until sedimentation occurs, that's the point at which the commission can pick up the jurisdiction.
So there would be no requirement for erosion and sediment control, I guess maybe other than what the building department requires, I don't know. Building department maybe requires that.
Yeah, for a single-family home, it's just kind of a, it's for subdivisions and that type of thing, there is stormwater review, a stormwater review component that goes into it, the review. for a single-family home, you know, it doesn't typically reach that threshold. So I think, you know, what Kim did in her suggestion to the homeowner, you know, if they're gonna do the work, it may make sense for you to file an RDA with us so that we can just prevent any issues from potentially happening. That's really the extent of what we can do.
Through the
And,
chair.
yes,
Can I just-
yeah, go ahead, Melissa.
As part of our enforcement order, could we request a PIB be installed on this property? Since, I mean, then the homeowner will be very clear, and if it does ever go under construction, there'll be visual marker in the yard, you know, that can be monitored versus trying to guess. Or you say
Yeah,
this-
the lot's only 40
Where
feet
would you
wide, though.
suggest it?
It's like a 40-foot wide
Well,
lot.
I don't know if, I mean, I don't know where the line, I guess we'd have to figure out exactly where the line is. And I
On
don't
the
know if any
highway?
of these trees,
I think the-
well, they're probably gone now, but maybe we can.
It's actually in the lake. Most of the lots along there, the backside of the property is actually underwater.
Mm.
Right.
I think he shows it there where it says Maspinock Lake. I think there is no wall there. I'm not sure what the dark area is. There may be.
It shows
rip-
it.
It's a riprap. Well, it's not a wall.
It's not a concrete wall.
I'm gonna take
It
that
must
off.
be like, it must be like a subliminal thing with you being away from the baby,
Just
so.
splash of baby.
Check on
Or
That's
potentially,
why we're all here.
potentially a tree or two that we're asking them to replant is on that 100-foot buffer line.
Yeah, maybe we can have them, as part of the enforcement and restoration, Kim, have them plant a couple trees on the 100-foot buffer.
The 100-foot buffer is gonna be like literally
It's-
right
oh,
here.
right on the deck. Okay, well then,
Or maybe a little bit farther down, and then we can put a couple
Or at least at the no
PIDs.
build zone, no
Another
disturb.
question, Mr. Chairman, is the 100 feet from like the backside of the property, which is underwater, or is it from the bank?
It's from the bank,
Okay.
yeah. Like I said, it's close. It's very close. I have advised that this is a very close one, and that, you know, we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
If there is an
There's-
expansion at all of the house, it's gonna trigger,
Us.
yeah.
I mean, they have to be, regardless, I would think that in building the house, there's gonna be some earthwork within the 100 feet. To pour a foundation, to grade, to do whatever they do.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think that they would have to, so an RDA to start, and
And there's not even any room to get a bobcat or anything down either side of that property, so.
Yeah, no,
I
that's,
really no idea how.
yeah, we've run into this situation before in other lots on the lake where it's very narrow. So I think Kim's recommendation for them to file an RDA with us was appropriate. So I guess we'll just wait.
yeah, at
and-
that point in time, we can talk about
PIB.
PIB and then.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'd be premature at this point. Jim, did you have something else? Sorry.
I think Kim touched on it. If everything's outside of the 100, and there's no requirement for a notice of intent filing, if there's some impact from what's going on there, then we do have jurisdiction, as you said, with sedimentation and so forth. That's always been going on. Maybe outside initially, but that could change.
I had one more thought about the trees that got removed that occurred to me. Because of the steepness of the slope, I would love for those stumps to stay exactly like they are, at least for a while. I would love for those not to be ripped out for all sorts of loose dirt to be shown, and to lose the roots that are holding the hill together.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, they can just grind the stumps down the grade, leave the root systems intact.
As long as it's not an aggressive grinding that goes deep in the ground and loosens up a bunch of dirt.
Yeah.
Cut flush?
I like cut flush a lot better than gray.
I like cut 4 inches above. So you could
I like that even, I like the trees not being cut down.
I'd rather
Their
have the
time
extra
machine.
Good.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good.
All right, any other questions from the audience?
Mr.
Yes,
Chair.
sir.
Tom Toll, 55 Downey Island, the lot just north of the property right next door. My question is, you're mandating them to put back some trees. What size would they be? Is there any minimum size requirement, and the total number of trees?
Yeah, so it'll be a replacement of the number of trees that they cut down that were not approved, I think is what we would recommend. And then what would the diameter be, Kim?
I would
6
like to
inches?
see, it's gonna be hard to get
4
6
inches.
inches. I would probably go 3 to 4 with a minimum height of 2 to 3 feet.
And I would suggest that's not a tree of substance.
I'm with it.
I mean, you're right.
Of course I'm right.
I don't
Let that be
know.
on record.
I'm just not sure where the applicant would, get, just from my consulting days, I would have a tough time finding
You can find some
something
really good
larger.
sized trees on Route 135 on the Ashland line.
And maybe we just request, a 2 to 1 replacement. Since the size of the trees that were cut were
For higher
significantly larger.
survivability.
Yeah.
I saw one being done today, one of those big.
Mr. Chairman, I think if you
Yeah,
specify
yeah.
the size of
Yeah,
the
right.
diameter of the trunk, that's gonna dictate the height.
All the burling.
Yeah, so I think 3 to
If you
4
like a
inch
6-inch
caliper.
diameter, I mean, you're not gonna find a 6-inch diameter tree that's 3 feet tall.
Right.
But I don't know, can you find 6-inch diameter trees to be?
Yeah, Western Nursery.
I don't know,
Lumber
I'm
Street.
asking, I have not bought those trees.
Lumber Street,
Yeah, Lumber Street,
Is there a time limit where these would have to be
North
planted?
Carolina.
Yeah, that might be, I don't know if they're gonna be able to get them in this fall, Kim. It might have to be the springtime, right? So it'd probably be in the spring that we'd
But if the
request.
house is already built by that time, there's no way he's gonna be able to get a machine to carry them down. He'll have to get a crane.
That's
I mean,
very
that's his
kind of
problem,
sensible.
but you might argue that.
Yeah, I don't think the house is gonna get approved and built before the springtime.
that's his plan.
Yeah.
Right, well, we'll have to have the applicant come in. I mean, I can't speak for him,
Yeah.
but we'll have the trees replaced before the house is built.
And what, again, what the total number is?
I think it was 6. So if we do a 2 to 1 replacement, we'd be requesting 12 to be put in.
One more question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
About the sedimentation, you mentioned, I mean, if there's like a bobcat or something like that going down there, I mean, does it, the soil is all torn up, does it have to be running down the hill before we could contact Concom and say there's a sedimentation issue? What constitutes, I guess, a sedimentation issue?
I mean, if there's equipment out there and it's disturbing the soil and it looks loose enough where if there's a rain event, just call the commission and,
Okay.
we can have request the homeowner to put a erosion control in, to prevent any sedimentation from going into the lake.
All right.
Does that make sense, Kim?
I would also say at that point, I would say you need to file an RDA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? All right, so we'll move.
I'm sorry, one more question. Do you have an existing condition so we can see like where the 100-foot is? I can't tell from this, if this is the proposed or like is the existing deck at the 100-foot of just if we're eyeballing that, looking for sedimentation, where is the 100-foot?
Just give me 1
Doesn't
minute.
seem to be marked on.
Anna has a plan. She's sending it over to me right now.
Jeff?
The lot, width-wise is 40 feet, so if you just use that as to kind of extrapolate
Up from the lake wall.
from the, yeah, from the
Dark
lake,
line.
from the lake boundary there. You know, it looks like it's pretty close to maybe 5 or 10 feet off the
If it
deck.
doesn't show, like, the existing conditions.
Okay.
Here it is.
Okay, so existing conditions, it looks like that deck is within the 100-foot.
Boom, not there. That's the 100. Yes.
Which one's the 100?
The scale looks funky off, but it's not off that bank.
Hmm.
Yeah, look at
Yeah.
the bank to the 50-foot, and then look at the lot width. That scale looks a little
It's a little
funky.
wonky.
That doesn't look right to me.
This doesn't look like it's 50, if that's 100.
Yeah, if they're
Looks
measuring
like
it
it's
off
going
that
further.
dotted line of the lake, not the.
And through the chair, this is not a plan that's approved by the commission for wetland boundaries either, so.
Okay.
Right, this is kind of a sketch that was, what, this is
This
building?
is submitted to the zoning board of appeals.
Okay.
So if there is, like to tear the house down or whatever, if there's disturbance of the soil or things back here in the deck, when you take all that out, that would warrant a call.
Yeah, that would warrant, if
Yeah.
they're doing work within the 100-foot buffer zone, if that's the actual boundary, I mean, it doesn't look right to me, just eyeballing it, but they would have to file an RDA for that.
I mean, I can always take the measuring tape down. If I go down there, if I get a call, I would take the measuring tape and just lay it out and tell you right there.
Okay.
It's not a hard delineation to the edge of the bank.
So you just need a phone call.
I need a phone call if there's work happening down there, yeah. Then
Jeff?
that part works for me.
All right.
At a minimum, aren't they gonna be required to submit an RDA?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're on the lake, so at that point, they have to submit a plan that shows the boundaries, shows the contours, and what their proposed work is.
Kim, it sounded like Kim said he didn't have to do that. That's,
No, I think they do. Forget it, we don't know if it's 100 feet right now.
That's my problem. As
Yeah, no,
I
so they have to submit an RDA, it would seem to me.
my understanding is it's always the onerous on the homeowner to
Yeah, well, they
prove
do,
that
they
they
can do it
are.
at risk, and then we can.
Right, that's the thing, is that they're at risk. So as soon as I'm suspicious that there's sedimentation in our jurisdiction, I go down there with the
or
tape
any
measure.
work- Any work within the 100 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, if this is the plan that they're going off of, and it's not approved by the commission, to Anna's point, then they would have to file an RDA at a minimum, because the proposed deck is within the 100-foot buffer zone. So,
Okay, thanks.
This is the, you know, it's, you can have lots of conversations with some people, but you never know how much is getting absorbed sometimes, so it can be difficult.
Okay, we all set? You're welcome. All right, so we'll move on to the new hearings. This is Lasher, 172 Spring Street, a notice of intent for an addition, deck, and a pool raising. You have the Lashers here. Hi, good evening. I just got to read this before we get started. The Hopkinton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, October 18th at 7 at the Hopkinton Senior Center, 28 Mayhew Street, to hear all persons interested in notice of intent filed by Jennifer Lasher to construct an addition, renovate a deck, raise a pool, and perform associated site work. The location is 172 Spring Street, Assessors Map R15, Block 4, Lot 0. Good evening, Ms. Lasher.
Good evening, thank you for having me.
Sure, thank you for coming.
Sure.
Okay.
Big lot, a little bit of work in the front.
Okay.
The site's about 600 feet to the west of Pond Street intersection in Spring. Wetlands in the back, highlighted in the green. There we go, highlighted in the green. House and deck and porch are in red. Driveway is on the right-hand side as you look at it from the street. Walkway in the front, septic in the front, tank on the left side. We're looking to replace the existing porch and deck with a slightly larger addition on piers. There's no construction, no earth removal or movement in proposing the addition. The pool has been right behind the deck That's been removed already. The purple line is proposed erosion control. So we have a wetland along the left here. We have a ditch. We have a ditch that goes from here to here, right across the yard. And then we have wetlands here that go this way. The idea is that the wetlands are going to go this way and this way. In Joe's letter, we have to go out and evaluate that. So we have lawn. This is all lawn. Tree line is here. Lawn is here. This is all lawn. Right through the ditch, this is all lawn. Right through here is all lawn. So we're looking to replace the porch and the deck with the addition. We're 23 feet from the blue corner to the center of the ditch. Joe's asked us to evaluate that ditch for the upper bank of both sides. Went out there today. This ditch is dry. It's mowed. It's part of the lawn. So we're 41 feet on the left rear of the addition to the wet, and 23 off the right rear of the addition to the, there you go, to the center of the existing grass ditch. So we have a few things to work with Joe that he's requested.
So is the, okay, so the deck and the addition are all in grass, previously disturbed grassy area,
Yes.
correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, is it a perennial stream or like a country swale?
It's a country swale. Yep. It's intermittent. In Joe's letter, it's intermittent.
It's definitely intermittent.
There you go, right there.
It's
Yep.
definitely being,
Yep.
maintained and mowed.
Yep.
Yep.
Joe has advised that it's jurisdictional as intermittent stream. It would be a bank resource.
Okay. How often do you get water that runs through that, do you know?
A couple months out of the year, spring, and then by summer it's all dried up. Which means I have to mow it, much to my dismay.
Okay. So there are a couple additional things that Joe was looking for, Kim.
Yep, the main comment was delineating the bank.
Yes.
He also suggested that the PIVs continue along this side of the property, just because the wetland also continues over here.
We don't have a problem with that. Yep.
And
Joe was questioning the two little bridges that we have. We
the
have an
permitting status.
We have an existing shed that's over here. This lawn that comes right through here to the bridge. A little bit of lawn here or wooded area here, and then we have a shed here. So these, you saw the picture, that one was there. We have another one there.
Those came with a house. I have no idea how they got there.
Yeah.
I've been here 5 years.
Okay.
This was touched on a little bit already, but Joe kind of felt that the way that the wetland was delineated was a little bit confusing. There's a wetland flag here, and then there's one here, and then there's the intermittent stream between. So questioning, can the wetlands be delineated in this area so that the plan can better show that the wetlands continue towards the back? I lost my pointer.
And we're prepared to do that.
And then his other comment was that there's lawn present up to the BVW edge in locations and generally within 25 feet of the BVW. I did do a historic review on this property. There is a historic filing, but there's no indication in that historic filing as to where the lawn was. It was a very old.
Yeah. Apparently back in, we have a, back in the early 1900s, there used to be a building up in here. There's an old right-of-way that comes this way to the top and then turns left and goes up to Jesdale's property. But there used to be a building right here.
Like an old barn or something, was it?
Actually,
It was probably carriage, wasn't it? I think. Used to go through there.
Carriage house or something?
Yeah. And I was told that there was a carnation farm back there at one time.
Really?
Yeah. And I constantly find, like, random shards of glass and things like there.
That's the building way in the back. This is her property right here. And that's the right-of-way that goes all the way up and around and then back up. That's where the old buildings were. That's why the old road had to skirt the building. So there used to be a building here then. And then one here.
Violet?
How far down is 172?
Just past the intersection with Pond. So there's McHugh Lane, and then I'm right.
This is about
After that.
600 feet down from here to here. Pond Street, Spring Street is here.
Oh, okay.
And right here.
So you're on the right-hand side if you're heading towards
Upton.
Upton?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we do not have a DEP number tonight.
Okay. I think we have to continue it anyways, right? To get a couple of
Correct.
these things
Yep.
figured out. Okay, questions, comments from the commission? Yes. Go ahead.
Can you say raise the pool when you're gonna infill it?
It was one of those, can I do?
Above ground pools.
Yeah, it was one of those like
Yeah, sorry.
$200 Target deals that just,
Oh, okay.
I took down because I was tired of taking care of it, so.
All right, cool.
So it's gone.
Through the chair, I have a
Yes.
question, and
Yep.
I don't know if I missed it when I stepped outside. I'm confused that our PIBs are way past the edge of the wetlands. Isn't the green line
So,
edge
so,
of the BVW?
so what's Joe's asked us to do, this is wet here,
Yeah,
okay? And we think the wet's gonna go this way. Where the pen is the ditch,
yeah,
right here.
right,
And then wet's to here, and then goes this way.
right.
So this is upland here, ditch here, wetland here. Wetland, wetland, upland, and a grass ditch in between.
Right. Why, I presume it was us or whoever made up us, why aren't the PIBs along the green line, if that's the edge?
Well, this is upland here. This is upland here. We're proposing wildflowers here.
Right.
So PIB here, up along, PIB, and then we're gonna continue down along the right.
Well, we could save some mowing by expanding the wildflower mix. And then we could not make that lawn and be a little more true to what, but maybe I'm misunderstanding the map. I don't know if any other commission
The
members.
appropriate thing would be to move the PIB to the front side of the wildflowers.
Or
some sort of a
along
post.
the green line.
Possibly.
Yeah, this was approved, Ted. What was in the filing? Was it in the 80s or?
Even earlier than that. My screen's frozen, I apologize. Here we go. 1982. 82.
1982. All right.
See if I can. Yeah, I apologize. This screen is frozen on that map. I can
Okay,
reboot
no
it in a
worries.
little bit. But the existing plans that we had from 1982 did not have wetlands information on it, nor did it have any notations indicating limits of lawn areas. So I presume that the commission doesn't have any established limits of disturbance out here.
I don't know. Maybe, I don't hear any other commission members speaking up, so maybe.
No, I think 82, the regulations, obviously were a lot different than they are now and more relaxed. In a situation like this where, it's a lawn area that's been established.
given that Ms. Lasher doesn't want to mow it anyway, and they're proposing, how about we do some wildflower seed mix and get rid of some lawn? It seems like to right what might have been a 1982 wrong or cluelessness, that we kind of reestablish that back part.
I don't know if it was wrong as much as it,
That's why I
just-
said slash cluelessness.
Yeah, I think, I think it was just, things are a lot more relaxed than they are now, you know. But anyways, if you can, talk amongst yourselves and see if
Will
there's any
do.
way you can,
Yep.
work with us on that.
Yep.
That'd be appreciative.
I also have, if I may,
Yeah.
I have two large hydrangea bushes that are gonna need to be moved because if the addition goes forward, they're gonna, so would moving them to that area help? Would that be in addition to what you're saying with the wildflowers?
I think that would help, Kim, right? I mean, it's not a native species, but it's a pollinator. So, yeah, you could do that.
Okay.
That'd definitely be a benefit. Okay, any other questions from commission members? Questions or comments from the audience?
I have a question, a follow-up on mine.
Yes.
So if you are willing to extend the wildflower mix, are you also willing to move those PIBs closer to the house, or are you going to keep them on the other side of the wildflower meadow?
No, we would move the PIBs to the front.
Okay, great. Great. I like that. Be laughing at me here.
He just made your night.
Okay, so we'll continue this out to the first. That
What?
should give you
Oh,
plenty
is
of
Yep.
time.
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you. Nice
Thank
meeting
you
you.
very much, nice
Yep.
to meet you, thank you.
Ed's breath.
Excuse me, is the shed over the footbridge?
Oh, yeah,
Or was it on
that's
the?
On-
To the
sheds
upper
on
right, yes.
The other side of the
Haven't eaten yet.
footbridge.
Just wait.
I lost my
Hoping
breakfast.
Kim will share.
It's frozen. Over here?
No, the other
Right
one,
here.
to your right.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure you didn't lose access over the.
Yeah, it's just a stone wall.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you very much.
Oh, geez, I forgot that.
Unplug it.
It really adds the ambiance.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's start. Let's reboot it.
Okay, are you folks here for hearing
It's like
tonight?
frozen.
Which one was that?
This is a public forum request.
Oh, okay, let's go to that
Okay.
before we do the PIB discussion.
If you want to give me a minute, I'll try
Yeah.
to get this working.
Just bear with us for a second.
Oh man, it's still frozen. Unplug your reflex. There you go.
That usually works.
Plug it again.
For us non-techies.
Okay, now I'm forgetting. It's going, yeah. I was thinking about it.
This sat on Brendan Tedstone's ears. I challenged him to a duel on Main Street at Headstones, but he didn't take me up, but in his last day at open space. I had 10 minutes.
Sorry, this room isn't properly support HDMI.
Nothing's running.
I wonder if we can put it back in the HDMI. Yeah.
Look at the baseball score.
No, now it says no signal HDMI 1. Oh wait, hold on.
Chair to see if one of you would volunteer to be.
Oh, it's successfully detected.
I was waiting to see if Jeff took
Come
the.
on. Come on.
Yeah, basically. Although I do like those signs.
It still says I can't present to
He
room.
doesn't do it. I guess we'll do it.
All right, do we need the, maybe you can just shift your computer
Yeah.
for us, Kim, and we can look
Yeah,
at that.
okay, we'll make it work.
You need an Allen wrench.
Yeah.
Keep in the garage?
Yeah.
Oh wait, now it said I can do it.
Time to bring it back up.
Hold on, leave it exactly where it's at.
I had it like half unplugged when you said
We'll
stop.
leave it exactly. Oh, now we see Jake again.
Is somebody we know?
There you go.
There we are.
All right. Okay, so this is Whitehall, Car Engineering.
Yep.
All right, you can come on up. Good evening.
We had printouts just in case the TV did.
Oh.
Oh, now you
You
tell us.
said that, yeah. You wanted to see the baby picture.
Yeah, so we're here from Park Corporation. My name's Alan Orsi. This is Sarah Pierce. So last week we got a call from DCR Dam Maintenance Program because of the development of some sinkholes next to the spillway, or the I guess it's the spillway outlet pipe at the right end of the dam, the east end of the dam. So in response to that, DCR wants to get out there and do some repair work to backfill the sinkholes and then reset some of those stones that are falling off the top of the wall there. Work is expected to come off of the roadway along the path shown on the backside of that plan, or that picture.
Mm-hmm.
It's an existing road that's been used for a previous sinkhole repair out there. Expecting to do the work with a backhoe. DCR is in the process of contracting a contractor to get out there. They're really anxious to get out there and get it done before the pond comes back up. It's currently 3 feet below its typical pool elevation, just due to low water levels through the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've skipped a gear here somewhere. Where are we?
Oh, we're at the
South of Woods, east of Woods Street.
On the other side of that.
You know where the kids go,
Back.
where the
On the
kids
post
go
office
fishing,
side.
right?
Right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Right near the fire station.
Yeah, okay.
where the kids go fishing there, right on the side of the road, Ed?
Yep, no, I get all that, but somehow, I mean, it's not on the agenda?
Oh, it's
It
on
is
public
the second
forum.
page.
Ah,
Sorry.
Okay.
So this was an emergency
okay,
request.
okay.
Okay, Kim, did you have any concerns?
So I don't. I received the emergency request. I went out and took a look at the sinkhole and the access, and I said, yeah, it's a sinkhole, and I'm not an engineer, so I approved
Well,
the
the Armstrong.
emergency
relocate
cert,
something.
and I'm just asking the commission to
Yeah.
ratify tonight, and also asking if you would like an after-the-fact filing for this work.
What's your recommendation on the after-the-fact filing, Kim? I mean, it looks pretty straightforward. You're just gonna go in with the backhoe, put the stones back in, and then backfill with...
We'll go in with the backhoe, we'll dig out a little bit of material to get the stump and the organic material out there. And then we'll backfill with suitable material, which is probably well graded, bent fill type of material, just to restore the embankment integrity in that area, and then set the stones back on top. Expect it to be a
Couple days.
work.
What do you think?
Through the chair?
Yes.
You're accessing from the top only?
Yes.
Is that the same photo? Is that the same photo as this?
No.
These are my
I mean, it's the
photos.
same area now.
Yeah.
Subject area. Was
Okay.
there some biblical
Was it
flood
like
that
a
came through
tree
there,
or
moved
something?
those rocks?
Yeah.
Some of them were already...
It
Well,
was
I
probably
guess if
more,
they were leaning,
I think there used to be a
freeze
tree
and-
there that pushed it out of there.
freeze
and
and
then
thaw, yeah.
freeze and thaw didn't help because the pond's
or,
usually up
or,
there.
yeah, or it opened up behind it.
Yeah, some of the rocks were already down prior to the sinkhole, if I remember.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, it's been a little disrepute for a while. I was shocked that DCR is actually picking up the pieces and doing something about it.
That was my
Is
reaction
that
too.
a pipe or a
Who
culvert there
called?
too?
Yeah, there's a steel, I think it's a boiler pipe type of a culvert.
It goes under the road, right?
So that one just goes through the dam and through that arched stone wall line channel. And then downstream of the road, there's another steel culvert underneath the road.
Oh, you can see it there.
You're not modifying
That's
the
pretty-
culvert at all?
No, I think the intent here right now is just to stabilize the immediate hazard created by the sinkhole itself. The dam has historically been in poor condition. It's on DCR's radar to do something more permanent about, but they're really focusing on some of their high and significant hazard dams before they get to the low hazard dams.
Okay. All right. I think we're good. I don't think we need to do a filing, so long as the scope of work doesn't change. And then, if I can just get a motion to ratify the emergency certification that Kim issued.
So moved.
Oh, Jim moved.
I'll second.
In a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I have another question. So you guys represent DCR on these types of projects?
Yep.
Far? We have, and Eddie, you might want to jump in here.
Hornet's nest.
We have an old, an area on, it's on Spring Street, across from a development. So it was supposed to be like a detention basin, but essentially what they did is they just put the outfall from the development going onto DCR property.
He's gonna get my blood pressure up. I know the first aid source is not too far from here, and the traffic now is light, so that the emergency vehicles will be able to get here. Do you really wanna wind me up?
So anyways, so there's a pseudo detention basin that's out there. There's really no kind of erosion controls, you know, it's very, it was haphazard put in the, I think it was the late 80s. But essentially what happens is you get the runoff, you know, there's pretty steep grades, you get the stormwater runoff going into the catch basins, picking up all the sediment that's in the road, and it just discharges it into this former vernal pool area. So I think all it would take would be...
This was a vernal pool.
I think all it would take would be to put in like a berm type system to kind of, when the flow's coming down out of the culvert, you know, it would allow it to pool and then trickle down.
Some kind of like
Yes.
pre-treatment basin, right?
Yeah, something like that, that would,
That was done for Ralph Road, and one end of the quote dam was butted up against a pine tree, which of course the roof rotted as I forecast, and the tree has fallen down, broken off that end of the dam, so it doesn't work anymore.
so is that something that the DCI would consider improving, or in
So
your view?
The basin's on DCR property or
Yeah.
the vernal pool area?
Do you feel like you've been set up? I'm sorry.
No, which is part of the problem, because we have reached out to, this has been an ongoing issue.
Yeah.
And we've reached out to DCR because, you know, we were proposing to have like the scouts go out and do something about it. And the problem is we can never get a response from the DCR, you know, because it's on DCR property, there's liability, you know, with having the scouts do it type of thing. So I don't know if there's any way you can maybe run that by them.
Yeah, I can,
And,
sit
you
in
know,
Spring Street.
yeah. Across from Ralph
Number
Road.
around Spring Street. Across from Ralph Road.
There's one, and then the other is at the bottom of Longwood, and it's,
But the Ralph Road is the one that discharges to the vernal pool.
no, Longwood.
Oh, it's Longwood?
Yeah.
Okay, so the one across from Longwood
On Spring
is
Street.
kind of the higher priority one.
It's probably a number like 16 maybe, Spring Street is a guess.
So you could just kind of run that by them and see if there's any way that we can get you know, some type of response from them. Either, yeah, we can do something, or no, you know, we don't have the budget for it, or whatever, that'd be helpful, because...
Yeah, so I will run it by, so we're working for the Office of Dam Safety and the Dams Maintenance Program, which is a part of DCR.
Right.
So it might be a different party, but they might have people that they stay in contact with that, assuming it's a part of Whitehall State Park.
Okay, yep, it's part of Whitehall State
I
Park.
can at least raise the issue with him, see if he can push some buttons to get you a...
That'd be great, I
call back.
appreciate it, yeah, yeah, okay, perfect, thank you.
You handled it well.
Happy to help.
All right, thank you. Have a good evening. Good night. Sorry I digressed there, Kim. Okay, and there was one other public forum request. This was 44 Stony Brook, riprap slope.
Yes.
Do you have their contact info?
Yeah, I have Mr. Arcene's info. Jeff, you have so much hope.
44 Stony, good evening. This is Josh from Top Notch.
Hello.
He represents the owner and builder for house number 44. Top Notch was in front of you people back in April of '21 for a 3-year extension. I think at the time you might have discussed the septic tanks behind the house, a proposed retaining wall, and a deck that was here and a deck that was here. So we're here this evening to connect the decks from one to the other and up along the left-hand side, the street being here, wetlands are here, 25, 50, and 100. So we're here to connect the two decks from one to the other. There's a 3-season porch here, a deck there, and a deck there, right outside. So that pink
That's
would be the
grass
deck.
area now, or what is that?
Well, this is our limit of work, all the way down into here.
Yeah.
Here's our 25-foot.
Okay.
Tank is here, pump is here, system's up on top.
So is this already constructed, or is?
This is in the process
in
of
the process,
construction,
okay.
yep. Foundation's in, house is up,
Okay.
windows are in. Just moving forward with the whole construction process.
Okay, so it's just the deck
So
extension?
the deck
and
with the
this-
piers that are, it's a kind of a 3-story thing, lower level, walkout basement in the back. Deck is on the first floor, on the back inside, and then the left.
So that was already approved, right? It's just the
deck here,
connection.
exactly, the deck here and the deck here was, my understanding back in April, was approved. And they want to connect this part, and this was shown as well. So they want to connect the two decks with this part here. And then there's piers on the bottom holding it up.
Okay, and then where's the riprap? Below the deck there?
So the riprap issue is the tank. Discussions with the Board of Health, there's going to be a riprap to hold up the slope here adjacent to the tank and the pump chamber. And then we're also here for a second retaining wall here. This lower one was approved, we're doing the upper one now as well. So here, here, and there.
And what's the reason for the upper retaining wall? Just bank stabilization, or?
Stabilization, leaching field.
Oh, the leaching field?
Mound.
Yeah, breakout, yeah.
Correct. In order to be able to get a level surface, at least somewhat of a level surface.
Okay. Kim, did you have any issues with this?
No, I just wanted to make sure that the commission was okay with the riprap slope to the PIB. It's just not something that I felt I could approve administratively without running it by you guys.
Yep. It's a really big rocks. It's not necessarily small riprap. It's larger
All rocks
rocks
from on-site as well.
adjacent.
There's a lot of big rocks there.
We found out. We found out. So all the rocks in that area are the ones pulled directly from the site.
Okay.
Some of them were very large and needed to be broken up, but all of them came from the site.
Will the homeowner have enough room between the deck and the slope to get a lawnmower to the other side of the house?
Well, there's a patio underneath the deck, so they could just walk the lawnmower right on the patio to be
So
on grade.
it'll be kind of edge of deck and then immediately go into slope.
Deck's up here, patio's here.
Right,
yeah.
but if you're looking down the deck, you're looking down at the slope, and then it'll slope into and then it'll hit basically the woods.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
You good?
It's not my favorite, but it's not awful.
Okay. Everyone okay with this?
I think the leach field is gonna make a great ski area come the winter.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, and this was a project change request, right, Kim?
Yep.
All right, if I can get a motion to approve the project change request as discussed. And a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I like the name of your company, by the way.
Huh?
I like the name of your company.
Thank you very much.
It's cool.
Thank you very much.
I hear that they were non-invasive rocks.
Is that what sold it?
They're native. They're native.
We got to do something with them.
Yeah, no kidding.
But
Okay, PIB option discussion. This is Jim's request.
So I'll give you a
Anna-
little,
So,
yeah.
yeah, Kim and Anna put together a summary of some other places of the requirements.
You making changes to PIB?
Yes, absolutely. It's gonna have to be.
Barbed wire.
Yeah, it's a public meeting.
Jersey barriers, Jersey barriers.
Okay.
That's what Westboro said. So anyway, I'm not sure how to characterize this. Growing impatient, bothered more by us requiring barriers and signage and then people just doing whatever the heck they want to do. So, I originally just wanted to point out that there are other fences available besides what might be thought of as a common post and rail fence, and then the other fences. And I also think that our signs, our medallions, are too small and don't inform property owners enough. I think we might want to look someday at some more language where it says, right out, no cutting, no disturb, and so forth. When I looked at our special conditions, and you guys put this on here, Hopkinton special condition, second sentence, the PIB may consist of fencing, etc., signage. So it suggests that it may consist of signage, but we always require signage, right? And that's,
Not always. If you put a fence in, we don't require to put signs up.
we require a medallion, no?
No, not with the fence.
Oh, well, I think we should, because somebody's gonna tear the fence down.
Yeah, a fence that has nothing on it, it says it's a random fence.
Well, on the plan it calls it a PIB, but.
Well, so anyway, my, I guess, request is that we let people know that there's other things besides armor stone, large boulders. Oh, by the way, and that we look at our signs to make them more prominent and with more information on them. And I was just going to say that it's, if you look at the last page, Westboro requiring Jersey barriers, that's cool. And Holliston requiring 3-inch by 2-inch boulders.
Pardon?
Well, it says 3-inch by 2-inch placards or boulders. So I take that literally, 3-inch by 2-inch boulders, which I wouldn't call it boulder, I kind of call it stone.
And then there was a town that doesn't require anything.
Yeah, which is really interesting. So, anyway, I'd like to, get a little firmer with people.
It's interesting, Native
And
has
make
a
it
QR
obvious
code.
that with signage, with different signage, that it's, you gotta pay attention to that. And there's no guarantee, obviously, that people are still gonna pay attention, but there were so many times we've seen somebody come in and they just totally ignore the PID, as we call it.
Yeah, no, that's, we have run into that problem, and better signage, I think, to your point, Jim, would be helpful.
So you guys found a couple of examples of signs other jurisdictions use, right?
Yep, this had, so I reached out through the chair, I reached out to a bunch of neighboring towns and just asked, what do they use? And so some of them, gave us their special conditions, some of us gave some examples. So I reached out to the administrators of all these towns, and this is what recommended and what they do.
So
And a
if
bunch
we-
of them wanted us to share what we do too, so it sounds like, it's definitely a discussion point.
Yeah.
Other towns are thinking about what they need to do and
Yeah.
how to make it better.
Yeah, it'd be great if we all sort of followed the same thing, but in order for us to require a different sign, I mean, that doesn't take any change in the bylaw, it just takes us producing something. We give the medallions to, I forgot this, do we give the medallions? We don't, we tell them where to get them.
Through the chair. So we, and this was something that was a little bit surprising to me when I came in as the agent over here. The Conservation Commission does not have an actual required sign. The signs that have been getting used are actually ordered by a local builder, and he sells them to people at cost. And they have like a little tree on them, and they say conservation, and that's it.
That's
So
it.
the commission actually doesn't have, like, the commission never sat down and said, what do we want, what do we want this to say? What do we want it to look like? It's not actually, signage is required in the bylaw, but it doesn't say what type.
Yeah, right.
This is what you're thinking.
So I'm sending down my phone with one, and I have a picture of Kim's baby on there too. So there's, I'm sending down what I
So you're
think might
suggesting
be.
you put Kim's baby in the medallion?
Yes, do it for the next generation. So, I mean, just as an example, right? Something that's just clear. I think you guys saw that. And then when you send it back, I'll show them.
I like that.
Drudging.
I like that one too.
And then, if that's not okay, if we really want to make a statement, we can do this. We can send it, we can use these.
Yep, perfect.
Huh?
Predator traps.
What size? What company are you looking
If we use
at?
Kim's baby, though, we have to pay a royalty.
Okay.
Oh,
For every
hey!
medallion.
You don't like that one? How about this one?
Yeah.
If that
that's
isn't a
good one,
conflict of
too.
interest, I don't know what is. A theme that we found amongst the towns was that towns found that pheno rods and PVC pipes do not work.
Yeah, I know, right.
What was the first one?
Pheno rods? We talked about?
Like rebar.
Yeah.
And that came up at a recent meeting.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, those aren't gonna do it.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
definitely.
no. Use those for string.
I like Kim, I think you have a good point. You know, we have to generate the medallions ourselves through our office and then distribute them, and I think your recommendation was that cost, right?
I would like to do that. I think, my personal opinion is that the commission should figure out what they want it to look like, what it wants, who says we should order it, and then as long as we can offer it to developers at cost, I don't see why we wouldn't supply them.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's great.
And then I like the Ashland one, you know, protected resource area, then maybe you can put like do not disturb. Town of Hopkinton, protected resource area, do not disturb, and maybe a turtle or a bird or something along those lines.
How about a 45?
45, yeah.
Yeah, kind of the.
Well, Jim, did you show us a tag that
Yeah.
listed,
It's a sign.
like, don't do this, don't do
Yeah,
this, don't do
it's
this?
a sign. And, you know, generally you can get them in bigger than 2" by 3". But there's no, I just happen to like find there's a place called Compliance Signs. And I just happen to look there and see. But the language is kind of, I'll send this up to you. The language is, you know, tells them what you can't do anything. No mowing, no cutting, no construction, no filling, no chemicals, no dredging. I don't know why you'd be dredging around here. But
I think it's interesting that Natick says they put a QR code on there and then it directs them to
right.
the webpage.
A what?
Then you can put whatever you want on there. You
Figures.
can put all that stuff on the web.
Yeah, and even small
I don't know that you
markers.
can fit it all on a medallion.
Yeah, because if you
Anyway,
put list all those different things in a little medallion,
Yeah.
you're not gonna be able to read it, you know?
I think
Hey.
most people recognize the medallions as like, oh, like, pay attention. When they see those
I-
signs, it's like the do not dump signs, and then you see a mattress right next to
Yeah,
it.
but it's too small. Like, you can't see it from more
Through
than.
the chair,
Yeah.
even some
And
of the
Southborough's
sites
like
I've been
12
on
inch.
lately too, like the ones on the trees, a lot of times it's hard to find the ones on the trees, like
Yeah.
invasive vines have covered them, or, you know,
Yeah.
they're kind of mixed into the woods and stuff has grown in front of them, which is great, but a lot of times it's like, we'll go out to a site and it's like, where is the PIB? Like, you just don't see them anymore.
And our medallions now are pretty small too, right? I mean, I think they need
Yeah,
to be.
they are small.
I think they need to be like 6 inches in diameter.
Yeah.
Maybe we could get some like samples from a sign place so we could kind of
Yeah, that'd be good if
get
we
an
could do that.
idea.
And then, yes, Chief.
So we get medallions printed up at 100 a whack. We deal with a company over in Holliston that created the medallion.
Can you send us a copy of that?
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
contact information?
Yeah, it's, he lives down on, the vice president lives down on Winter Street in town. But yeah, I'll get your contact, but you can make up different signs, different sizes. And what I'm hearing is that obviously the placement of it is important. But
Yeah.
maybe to change the color
Yeah.
Because instead of white, maybe you go to a fluorescent orange, which isn't good in the fall. But for, 7, 8 months of the year, you're looking at something orange. Why don't we have this orange thing? You can
Right.
pick any color you want, but you're looking to send a message.
I will say we have an issue on open space with an abutter who doesn't like our little green signs.
That's where I put a
And
giant.
he's taken them all off his side of the tree and attached them to the other side of the tree.
You should ask John up to get some of those fines doubled orange signs. Put them out there. What you're talking about, are they similar to the ones that we have, which is the town logo or whatever it is, and then a couple of words, or are you putting, do they have more description?
There's not a lot on it, no, there isn't a lot on it, no.
But we can modify it if we want, right?
Yeah.
We can put on it whatever we want.
Yeah, he makes a template.
Yeah.
Every time you do it, and then you can just print them off. We get them like $6.17 a piece.
It's pretty cheap.
So you could mock up what we want, send it digitally, and then we wouldn't have to actually print the sign until we would say, yeah, that's the sign we want, Right?
Yep.
Or somebody.
Color may add a little price to it.
Yeah, but even like if it's $10 a piece,
Under
And
$10
usually,
now.
most properties you put in maybe 10 or 15 of them, right? So it's
Yeah, I mean,
$150, $200. It's not a lot.
no, frankly, if you look at the price of what new houses being built are, you gotta be kidding me. A fence or signs. Really? Is that gonna blow your whole budget? Are we still on camera?
Yeah.
But no, seriously,
I get it. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Talking about trees, adding trees and stuff, to me, is just like pennies.
Anna, do you want to come up with a couple versions of some signs with verbiage? And, we can take a look at it at the next meeting or the meeting after
I
that.
know we've got a couple that other people have done. We have a couple of samples too. I didn't think to grab those, and then whatever one the Marketons have come up with as well.
Okay.
Sign should say Minefield.
Thank you for putting this together, by the way. This is good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And by the way, no other towns require razor wire, barbed wire, electric fences, or anything.
Not that they admit to in writing.
Not that they're admitting to, right?
Through the chair,
Yes.
I appreciated in great detail that Easton had a conservation post detail.
I was looking at that too.
Yeah, I would like to come up with something like that. Like, I think it would behoove us to be very specific
Yep.
in whatever, you guys decide you want to do. But I thought that was a great resource for proper installation, and, then we have something concrete that says, here is exactly how you do this.
Yeah, I think we just take this detail.
Yeah.
There's no need to recreate the wheel, right? Just
Yeah.
ask them if we can have their permission to do that. If they say yes, we can just use that.
Right. Well, I guess my question to you is, do you want posts? Are you still gonna accept trees? Do you, just kind of how, I guess as a point of this discussion, my question is not only the signage, but what is acceptable for affixing the signage to?
So we should review this maybe and
Yeah.
comment the next time?
Yeah, why don't you think about it? My sense is maybe not trees. It's either a post or a fence or something like that, because the trees, it's too
Definitely
easy to
so.
just pull them off.
Through the chair,
Yeah.
like, we don't require, it's like either or can be both. Are you all suggesting that it's
Both.
always?
I'm suggesting both.
You're suggesting that. Is that what you guys are suggesting too?
I mean,
Medallion.
locks of fence don't necessarily, denote why it's there or what it's doing. Signs alone don't prohibit somebody from moving a skid steer or something else back there. So to me, it's both. Can we do that, or do we need to go to town meeting and get?
Yeah, if we're gonna change the,
No, it's
Well,
in the
not if
regs.
it's in the regulation. It's fine.
PIBs are in the regulations, they're
Okay,
not in the
great.
bylaw.
So we're just,
Okay.
we're just,
so
more
we can vote
description.
on it.
I love it. Okay, thanks.
But that 3-inch by 2-inch boulders, I don't know if you guys remember Spinal Tap, the movie? When he was designing the stage, he put 3-inch high instead of, 30 inches instead of 30 feet. And he did the design, he brought it to him, and he's like, oh, this is a great model. He's like, model, that's your state. That's the.
Right.
You guys are
I
probably
know
too young
what
for
they
that
meant to
movie.
say. I was being literal.
All right, anything else, Kim?
That's all I got.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Motion to adjourn?
I just want to make a quick announcement. The ZAC Public Forum is Monday, and a healthy part of it will be spending some time talking about tree protection. So Concom members might be interested in checking that out. It'll be on Zoom.
Tree protection during construction or tree protection?
All
in
sorts
general?
of things are coming up as we burble closer to Monday.
Is there any drafts of anything?
I don't think there's anything right now.
Okay.
We're kind of reopening a discussion that was tabled 2 town meetings ago. And then we let it sit for a while to let tempers die down. And we're picking it up, but there's no draft proposal of anything.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
I just wonder if some groups always have the same people make the
Yeah, that's what
motion
Jeff
and
was talking
second,
about.
just so it's
Or
easier for
Kim's.
notes,
More
like.
consistency?
Yeah.